So, here's a question for you. What have you learned during lockdown 1.0 and now for some of us lockdown 2.0? Many people would be forgiven for thinking that the only lesson they've actually learnt from this is that a sizable percentage of people in Victoria are simply stupid and devoid of any sense of personal responsibility or awareness for others. However, it would be churlish of me to suggest that. When we have these times where we're effectively locked down, where we are locked in with ourselves and our thoughts, these are largely times for reflection, for thinking about our relationships, how we interact with others, how others interact with us. But it's also a time for reflecting on whether those relationships actually bring any value to us, whether they are of any assistance. I mentioned in a previous video my tendency to categorize people as plus ones, zeros, or minus ones. And it's worth me spending a few moments on that because I think it's something that people can adapt and use. You could give it your own sort of form of categorization. It doesn't have to be mine. Louise, when we're looking at business deals, when we're looking at dealing with other people, categorizes people as givers, matchers, or takers. One of the things we find intriguingly in business is that most people are takers. Very few people want to contribute anything. It seems as if the Australian approach to negotiation is you give me 100% and you get nothing. Does that work for you? And they're very surprised when it doesn't. So you can have your own system of how you sort of rank the people within your lives. Now, many people say that it's harsh to rank people, to categorize them. But I would counter with a simple fact. And the simple fact is that time's arrow flies in only one direction for all of us. Time is a limited commodity. We are a wasting asset. And so I would pose the umbrella question of, why do you want to spend time with people who don't enhance that experience? Why would you want to waste time on their drama, their problems, their irritations that they bring to you? I can't honestly see a logical reason as to why you would do that. Yet no one has managed to convince me otherwise. And yes, I do agree. It does seem to be a little bit harsh to rank people, to put them into baskets. But it's quite easy to understand when I sort of explain it. A plus one is someone who brings something to your life, to the experience that you both share. And with luck, you reciprocate. And it is a relationship that is bidirectional, and you both get something from it. A zero is your day-to-day interaction. It's the sort of person you bump into in the street and you say, how are you going? They go, good. They ask you how you're going. You say, good. The score is now 1-1. You both leave. The exchange ends there. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't bring anything. Minus ones are different. Minus ones are what you would categorize as takers. They don't bring anything. You always initiate contact. You always put the energy into the relationship. And generally when they do contact you, it is because they want something or they're bringing some sort of drama with them. And the last thing you need in your life is someone who brings drama. I understand that many people like to live their lives that way. They think that that is a somewhat rich and fulfilling way to live. But again, I don't think you could convince me otherwise, because it's simply a waste of time. And again, time is a fleeting commodity. To steal from Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, 7 is all we get. That's it. There is no repeat button. There is no replay button. This is not a game. We don't respawn. When it's over, it's over. And I'm quite certain nobody has ever sat on their deathbed and gone, gee, I wish I had more people in my life that brought more drama. That would have been really good. And that will never happen because people intrinsically realise that these sorts of people drain your resources. And resources like time are finite. And so this raises the relevance of this to trading. But think of how we trade. Think of what we do. When you trade, you do so in isolation. You are by yourself. Others may not understand what you do, but the plus ones will attempt to contribute something. They will have interest. They will be a cheerleader for you. Minus ones won't, because they share no interest in anything other than themselves. And I'm going to issue one of those dogmatic pronouncements that I tend to do. If you were to look at the classification of minus ones in your life, I can guarantee you the majority of them are family members. Unfortunately, family members know us quite well, and they know how far they can push. I'll give you a personal example. My father never understood what I did, and so was never a cheerleader. He actively sought to undermine what I did because he couldn't understand it, but also because it brought a degree of success that he could not fathom, and it brought a degree of success at a young age in an arena he couldn't understand or was not part of the plan that he had envisaged. And so you need to be very, very careful about the people around you. You may perceive that they are cheerleaders for you, that they have your best interest at heart, but I'm probably fairly certain that if you looked at them and you looked at their motivations, you would find that not to be true. Because a true plus one is a cheerleader for you. They may not understand what you do, but they will at least attempt to know what you do. They will, in some way, shape or form, try and assist. And as such, they bring something to the relationship in that they ease the isolation of trading. Because in trading, we don't have that day-to-day contact, that incidental contact with work colleagues. We sit in an office of our choosing by ourselves. So therefore, it's important that any contact you have is actually of a positive nature. But this raises the question of how do you manage these people? What do you do? Well, I have a suggestion. The suggestion is really quite simple. Pick up your phone and look through your contacts. It doesn't matter whether you use whether you use something like WhatsApp, Google Talk, you simply text one another. It doesn't matter. And ask a simple question. Who initiates the contact? If it is always you, then you are the plus one and they are the minus one. The equation is not really balanced. So therefore they have to go. And I would bet you that you can find 4 people in your contact list like that. And here's my solution for you. And it's really quite simple. You pick up your phone, you find those 4 contacts, and you delete them. It is that simple.